shy for love. I've been hurt before. All's fair in love and war. So I snuggle up close to the shell I'm living in. And if I let you in, another round begins. No, I'm spinning in a vicious cycle. I'm scared of doing something I'll regret. Maybe this is right, but I'm still staring at your silhouette. What if you're everything I need? A fire in my heart, the air I breathe. What if I'm incomplete without you by my side? What if I go against my heart instead of confessing from the start? What if I miss out on the life meant for us? I need you by my side.
Should I be scared? The feeling's so different now. You got me floating here, a feather in the air. Oh, but when the wind blows, will I tumble or sail away? Or would you have me stay? And what if I escape? I know
I'm spinning in a vicious cycle. I'm scared of doing something I'll regret. Maybe this is right, but I'm still staring at your silhouette. What if you're everything I need? A fire in my heart, the air I breathe. What if I'm incomplete without you by my side? What if I go against my heart instead of confessing from the start? What if I miss out on the life meant for us? I need you by my side, by your side. I'm not afraid. We found something that'll never fade. We can be ourselves and figure out the rest along the way. What if you're everything I need? A fire in my heart, the air I breathe. What if I'm incomplete without you by my side? What if I go against my heart instead of confessing from the start? What if I miss out on the life meant for us? I need you by my side. I need you by my side. I need you by my side.
Hi guys, can you all hear me? Just let me know for a minute that the audio is okay. I know it takes about 10 seconds before whatever I say gets to you, so. Hi Patrick. Let me see if my chat tool is working. Yes. I can select your comment. Sounds good. Where are you from, Patrick? Anyway, it's hard to have a direct conversation because of the delay of 10 seconds. Anyway, I thought, let's do a live stream again in honor of reaching 10K subscribers. It's really amazing to me that I've actually reached that. 10,000 people. We'll have a look at the stats of the channel in a minute to go back a bit in time, like how it started and what happened in the meantime. But it's amazing how many views I've had and how many subscribers I have now. So it's great. You're from Germany, Patrick. Okay, great. It's ja, ich spreche ein bisschen Deutsch, aber ist nicht sehr gut, aber es geht schon, ja. I tried to say something in German to Patrick. I hope he understood it. So I see there's about 7 people in now. So if you want, say hi on the chat. Let me know where you're from so I get a bit of an idea who's there and where you're all from. It's kind of interesting to me. But let's first share the reason for having this stream today. And that's, of course, let me share a different screen here. Yes, this one. It's, of course, the fact that, I reached the 10,000 subscribers. I think it was yesterday already. The number went up again today. Yeah, it's great. It's a huge number to me already. So below the number, you can see the graph of my subscribers growing. Let me actually show that for the lifetime of the channel. You can see I started way back in 2020, but I'll talk some more about that later. And it's been gradually growing. There are some slight, like over here, there's a bit of a sudden increase. And there's a bit of a sudden increase here as well, due to a recent, very popular video. The first one that kind of went viral on my channel, actually. Let's see who else is in. Rodrigo Spacecraft, congratulations. Okay, thank you very much. So let me switch back to the live view. I've not done a lot of live streams yet, so I'm still kind of getting used to it. So excuse the delays that I probably have every once in a while to switch screens and to sort of go to another subject or talk about something else. Dave Bennett, hi from London, UK. Congratulations on 10K subs. Well, great. Thank you, Dave. Yeah, so maybe it's nice to sort of go back a bit to when I started this channel on this chat. Of course, if you have any questions in the meantime, you can put them in the chat. I can have a look later, and I'll either try to answer them now in the live stream, or I'll get back to them later and answer them in the comments, for example. Okay, Arup Sikar has a very detailed MIDI-related question. I'll have a look at that after the stream, Arup, okay? I'm not really set up to answer any live, very technical questions about Cubase at the moment, but I'll have a look at that, and maybe if the subject is interesting, I'll even do a video about it. So then you get a special video specially for you. But let's get back to the channel. So the name of the channel, some people ask me like, where does the name come from? And I think one person once guessed where it came from in a comment on some video that I made, and he was actually right. But let me tell all of you a bit of the history. Like many moons ago, and I really mean like really long time ago, I went to MI, Musicians Institute, which is in Hollywood, California. Let me actually show you the picture of that. This is Musicians Institute. It's a college of contemporary music, and at the time, I don't want to live chat to Alex here. And at the time, I went there for to get educated in guitar playing, basically. So it was 1 year of absolutely a great time. Time of my life. Absolutely fabulous. I was doing something else before that, going to college for a much more technical study. And this was music for the first time, being away from home, very far, getting all new and foreign friends. So it was all absolutely great. It was, really the year of my life. But how this relates to Lanewood Studios is that I lived in a certain street over there with 2 other students. We lived in Lanewood Avenue. That's what I wanted to say about it. So that's kind of a name that always stuck to me. 7020 Lanewood Avenue. We had an apartment with 3 students, and it's sort of, like some people, they might get a tattoo about a major event in their life. And I basically named my YouTube channel after the street that I lived in Hollywood, California, which was the best of times, really. So that's a long time ago already. Like I said, many moons ago. But it was a great time. So that was kind of the name that I came up with when I started a Facebook page for Lanewood Studios, because Lanewood Studios has always been the name that I've been using for doing the mixes for my band The Wash. If you've seen some of my videos, you probably know that I play in a band. I play guitar in the band The Wash, which, let me just show you. I also have a screenshot of our website. Here we go, A Wash, indie pop band. We're on all the streaming platforms. And this is me here in the woods of Breda somewhere. And I've always used Lanewood Studios as the name of, I've been doing mixing for my band for the longest time. Since the first time we actually started making our own releases, we've been doing our own mixes. I first started with that. Later on, our bass player picked up on that as well. He's now also doing mixes for the band and for much more. He actually has a commercial studio that he runs, and so he's doing a lot in that regard. And Lanewood Studios has always been on the cover of albums that we did for A Wash as one of the studios in which the A Wash mixes were made. So that's basically how Lanewood Studios got to be a recording studio, at least for my own band. And that's how I made it into a Facebook page later on, which I think I probably made that Facebook page. It must have been more than 10 years ago. I just never published it. I just always prepared it, and I wanted to one day do that Facebook page and publish it, and then maybe make some videos about how we did recording with our band. And I never got around to it until 2020. Let me see if anybody has some comments. Okay, lots of people are saying hi. Well, thanks, Arup, Daniel Parker. Congrats. Well, thank you very much. Andy from UK, welcome as well. Shortcut Nomad. Yes, you also have a very technical Cubase question, which I'm not going to answer in the live stream, but I'll have a look at it after the live stream. yeah, so I was talking about starting this YouTube channel. I started it in May 2020, and basically, I don't know if you all remember. You probably do, because everybody in the world remembers. That's around the time when the whole COVID corona pandemic started, and basically our band, what we were doing with the band stopped. We couldn't perform, we couldn't rehearse, we couldn't get together to record new stuff. So I figured, well, this is about as good a time as ever to actually do start that YouTube channel on recording and mixing and feature some stuff from my band and all that. So that's actually when I first started the whole, the channel, basically. I think it was May 2020. So slightly over 3 years ago already. So I've been doing this quite a while already. And even after, but initially I had a lot of time for it, because again, nothing was happening in the world. I was working mostly from home though, but apart from that, outside of the working hours, nothing was happening. So I had a lot of time to start this channel and make a lot of videos and make a lot of mistakes and embarrass myself with my first couple of videos, because if I look at them now, they really look quite bad. Maybe the newest videos still look bad to you, but I think I've improved a lot and hopefully will, so more in the future. So maybe it's interesting to have a look at the kind of videos that I've done on the channel. Let me just share the PC screen again. Secret Squirrel, by the way, I see you just commented. Well, thank you very much. You're asking, congratulations, brother. I'd love to see if and how you have any macros set up to be used on the Stream Deck. Well, I currently do not have a Stream Deck, so I'm basically just streaming with OBS in my PC, and I'm switching scenes from OBS directly. I do not have a Stream Deck connected in any way. Maybe I'll get one if I get more into the streaming, I don't know. But let's check out the channel subscriber number we already had a look at. But what's also interesting maybe is what kind of videos were most popular on the channel. This is again lifetime. So we're looking at the analytics of YouTube Studio, and you can basically see here which videos were most popular. And this one here, that's a very recent one. This works on all, which is about a SSL compressor trick, which works on all SSL channel strips basically. And to my surprise, I never expected this. It's sort of went viral in that it really got like thousands and thousands of views in the first couple of days. Right now it's up to 37,000, and that's the highest on my channel so far, which is great. So I also like the fact that it's quite a recent video, so maybe I'm starting to gain some traction and get some more people to view my videos apart from the subscribers that I already have. My subscribers also went up a lot after that video. I think I got like, suddenly I had like 1,000 new subscribers in a month, when normally I have like 300-400 or something like that. I'll take a few sips. Other very popular videos are, a lot of Cubase related videos are very popular. Apparently you guys all like the way I talk about Cubase and teach the various quite technical subjects in Cubase, talking about Cubase features, automatic tempo detection and correction, Cubase vocal tuning also fits very much in that category. Again, tempo basics, tempo related stuff. Oh yeah, one video which also did very well is the video on Cubase licensing. I actually did 2 videos on Cubase licensing, which did very well for some reason. I think also because it was quite controversial in the beginning. a lot of people were opposed to ditching the Cubase key that we've had for all these years. Maybe some of you are still opposed to it. I think the whole activation system works excellent for me because I use Cubase on this PC over here, which is in my studio, but I also sometimes use it on my laptop, which for example, when I go to my girlfriend, I take the laptop so that I can still do some Cubase related things if I have some time. And yeah, it's very nice to just not have to take the dongle, the key, and maybe forget it somewhere or lose it somewhere. I can just activate Cubase on my laptop and works great for me. Yeah, so that's also a very popular video, which got commented on a lot, I think, both by people who liked it and who didn't like it. Other videos which were popular. Yeah, the Kazrock about the Clipper. I'm also surprised that that got so many views, but that might have also something to do with the fact that this video is actually featured on their website. So maybe a lot of people that want to know about the Kazrock K-Clip click on my video to check it out and see how that works. Always nice, of course. Again, a video about Cubase licensing and the new dongle. This is when I first heard about it. Remote control for Cubase with the Avid Control app. That also yeah, spiked quite heavily when I initially released it. Again, one of those unexpected things, but you basically, it means, if you haven't seen it yet, it's a video about being able to remotely control Cubase from your mobile phone, for example, or from an iPad. You can basically run the Avid Control app, connect it to Cubase, and for example, when you're recording by yourself and you're not at your keyboard, then you can just start recording from your mobile phone, stop recording, navigate through the project, and it's quite nice. And it doesn't only work on Cubase, but it works on a lot of DAWs. Obviously, it's by Avid, so it was invented for Pro Tools, but it's quite universal and it works quite well. And it's free, whereas the app that Steinberg has, which also has a control app, you have to pay for that, although it's not very expensive, but you do have to pay for it. So let's... okay, I see that I have some questions in the chat. Let me see. Scott Whitlow is saying congrats. Not sure if you're answering questions or not, but I'm having an issue with an aggregate device. It is with a Quad Cortex and my Motu M5 audio interface. All other DAWs see all inputs. Okay, let me, yeah, I'm not, if you have general questions, I'm happy to go into it. But specific technical issues, I probably have to look at that first myself as well. I'm probably don't have the answer right away anyway. So I will not go into that, but I'll have a look once the chat is over and see what I can possibly help you with. But yeah, let's first do the chat stuff. If you have ideas for videos that you want to see, by the way, by all means put them in the chat. Yeah, we can discuss them now, or I can see them later, and also put them on my list for yeah, videos that I still want to make on this channel. So thanks. So Scott Whitlow, Secret Squirrel, any chance of a playlist on how you process the instruments in your groups and then send them to bus? Snares, kicks, overhead, drum bus, etc. Any hybrid processing, etc. Well, I think Secret Squirrel that most of that was covered in general on a playlist that I have, how we produced one of our wash songs. Actually, let me show you. Let me share my desktop again. And let's try another YouTube tab. My playlists. It's called New Song Production. It's this playlist, and it basically goes. I think it started quite. Yeah, it started. Yeah, 3 years ago, and it ended around the time that we released that song, and that song took quite a long time to produce, I think slightly over a year. But it has, I think it probably deals with all things that you want to know about buses, but it's not in one video. So it's really in, there's a lot of videos. For example, I talk about how I mix guitars and what I put on the guitar bus, on the guitar channels, how I mix drums, what I put on the drum bus, etc. But it might be an idea to have a more featured video on exactly my bus processing. And so thanks for the suggestion. I'll put that on my list. Let me see, what else are people saying? Okay, Maarten de Raad. Maarten de Raad is the keyboard player of Wash. Hi, Maarten. I think, he's in the process of buying a new PC. So he was asking some advice yesterday about which PC to buy, and I of course referred him to my 3-part playlist about building my own DAW PC. But that's 2 years ago, so the component selection is no longer up to date, but the whole process is up to date. But I think he's gonna order one at a dedicated DAW manufacturer, which is always a good idea if you don't want to spend a lot of time in building everything yourself and running the risk of buying components that do not work together. So it's, but thanks for the congratulations, Maat. You've been featured in some videos as well, so thanks for your input on that as well. Let me see who else. I noticed that my chat thingy is no longer working, so let me actually try to rectify that, because then I can highlight some of the comments that you guys have. Let me show the live again. Let me see if I can get my chat display to work again. And there we have it. Yes, now I can see it. Look, now I can do stuff like this, where I can highlight Maarten de Raad's comment that he just made in the chat, which is a lot more comfortable. Okay, Shawquat Nomad, Cubase 12, you are one of the best who is explaining procedures for function tips and tricks in Cubase in several ways. I learned a lot from you, thanks. Well, you're very welcome, and thanks, a lot of thanks for subscribing and watching my videos. And I always like it when you comment or share or give it a big thumbs up, because it's good for the algorithm, and it's also nice for me to know that people are appreciating the videos. I know a lot of you are appreciating the way I apparently explain things, so it's always great to know, and so then at least I know that I'm on the right path. Scott is giving input here. Would be great to see a video comparing Studio One versus Cubase. Yes, I have been thinking about that, Scott. I know a lot about Cubase, but I don't know a lot about Studio One. But I guess I've seen other channels do it, so it must be, at least I will not be able to go in as much detail as I can do with Cubase. But I can definitely try to install one of them and see how quickly I get going with it. With my knowledge about Cubase, how quickly would I be able to start using Studio One, for example, or Reaper, or maybe even Pro Tools. It's an idea, and I'll certainly put it on the list. Thanks. Scott, when importing audio into Cubase, suddenly the vocals are high-pitched. I checked the project settings and they are the same kilohertz as the original files. Any other suggestions as to what I can do? Well, yeah, let me highlight that comment. I think that's a difficult one, because I would expect if the sample rate is correct and you import the files into Cubase, it shouldn't really be a problem. So I'm not sure what's wrong there. If any of the others have any suggestions, by all means, put them in the chat. But I think it's usually a sample rate issue when you get that. maybe you can also try just playing those files outside of Cubase. Do they then play back at the correct sample rate? You can also have a look at the sample rate of your audio interface. Is that set to the correct sample rate, to the same sample rate as the Cubase project, for example? I cannot imagine that there's anything else with a sample rate issue, but it's annoying when you run into stuff like that and you can't solve it. And it seems such a basic thing. Bradley Ward asks, could you share your thoughts about creating depth and dimension? For example, how important is ambience? It seems undervalued. Thanks. Actually, I have one video out on creating depth and dimension, which is about using reverb in projects. Let me try to find it actually. If I go to my YouTube Studio, and if I go to the content, let me share my screen so you can also see what I'm doing. I have one video about this one, reverb for blend and size. So this is a way that I use reverb from books, Mixing Studios, Mixing Secrets for the Small Studio. But this is very much how I would create depth and dimension by using reverb. I have another one in line with some newer concepts that I'm using, but that's still that will be released. Well, I think at least somewhere in the coming months. But otherwise, you can already check out this one, which I think also might help you a lot. So my favorite videos so far: Audio Warp, to tighten timing, and the markers. That's by Rodrigo Spacecraft. Yeah, I know those are quite hot on the list of popular videos. I think if I share that screen again. If you look here, Audio Warp. Oh, it's less high than I imagined actually, but it's this one, how to use Cubase Audio Warp. Yeah, almost 15,000 views, so that's quite popular as well. And tighten timing and the markers. Yeah, markers are very useful as well. Well, thanks for watching, and glad that you enjoyed the video. Scott has a question here. When you record tracks in Cubase and record multiple takes, I noticed there are diagonal lines on the audio event. Is there a way to turn these off so you can see the waveform a little bit better? Well, frankly, diagonal lines, I'm not sure that I understand what you mean, but maybe let me have a look in the Cubase project that I was. Yeah, I don't have lanes in this project, so I can't, but I'm not sure. But maybe a tip is if you want to increase the waveforms, then you can use this slider over here, which allows you to zoom in on the waveforms of all tracks. I don't know if that helps, but in this project, unfortunately, I do not have any lanes. So I don't remember exactly what lanes you mean, but I'll have a look. I'll have a look based on the comments, and maybe if it's something that is good for a quick tip video or something, I can make a video about it. Herbert Brazil comments, thank you for explaining Cubase 12 in a simple way. Would you make a video about mixing a project for a good end result? Yeah, it's a big subject for one video, I think. Maybe I can think about making a simple video about just the basics of a mix, for example. That could be an option. I'm also thinking, because basically a lot of my videos are about mixing in Cubase. it's not about the techniques, but I also have a lot of mixing tips and how I would mix all kinds of instruments, like referring back to the playlist that I did on the new song production series, where I went into how I mixed, how we produced a full track with a wash, from recording to mixing to releasing it, including mastering. And a lot of those videos contain tips about mixing, like how to mix guitars, how to mix the bass, how to mix the keyboards for that particular song, because mixing is always song and material dependent as well. So it's quite a big subject for one video, but I'll think about how I can maybe do some basics video or something like that, like what are the basics of a mix, and yeah, interesting idea. Thanks. Scott Whitlow has another question. If you record over one of your tracks, you should see the diagonal lines I was referring to. Yeah, okay, I don't want to record over this project at the moment, Scott, but I'll try it after the chat, okay? And you have another remark, idea for future video, how to get AirPods working correctly with Cubase. They generally don't work if you select them as an audio device. Yeah, I have AirPods as well. At the moment, I'm wearing in-ear monitors to be able to hear myself and not have feedback into the mic from the speakers, and also be able to hear any audio if I'm playing it from my web browser or Cubase, for example. But I also have sometimes problems with AirPods connecting to my laptop at all, and I'm not even talking about connecting it to Cubase, but just to my laptop. So there's something weird going on with AirPods. And or are you on Mac? Because I would figure on Mac it might work more streamlined. And but I'm mostly a Windows guy. I have an iPhone, but apart from that, I'm mostly a Windows guy. So I've never actually tried connecting my AirPods to Cubase, because there's ASIO drivers in between, so I'm not exactly sure how to do that even. Maybe if you use the general audio output of your PC, then I think you should be able to connect to your AirPods, but with a lot of latency maybe. Yeah, so I haven't tried it yet, so I can't really give you any good advice on it. Maybe Google. I'm sure that some people have ran into the same problem as well as you have. Bradley has another question. Do you ever use ambience to help shape the tone of electric guitar parts? Not so much as reverb, more like breathing some life into the guitar tone. Hope that makes sense. Yeah, I do use, it's one of the few things that, well, obviously I play live with my band The Wash, and in recent years, well, actually since I've had my Kemper, which has a lot of integrated effects, I've been using those effects more and more as part of the general guitar sound. So it's not even so much in a mix, but even live, I try to make those effects more part of the guitar sound, to shape the guitar sound without, yeah, and instead of it being as an extra effect, it's part of the sound really. So when I record those sounds, I usually also record them with those effects on there, because they're part of the sound and it's not something that I want to add later as part of the mix. But I guess you were asking about adding those effects as part of the mix. I think I would probably add them in a similar way as I do now on my live rig. And that's mostly delays, sometimes very short delays to lengthen the tone a bit. Sometimes also more rhythmic delays to actually get some rhythm into your playing. Yeah, while you're not actually playing those notes, but actually adding the rhythm, like for example the Edge did for U2, although not so much in the Edge way, but in a similar way, you can make those delays part of your sound and make it part of your playing. And yeah, it sounds very nice, but I would probably do it in the same way in a mix if I needed that kind of effect in a mix, or if I needed that kind of tone shaping in a mix. Oh, Andy has a reply to Scott's problem. He says press the lane button to split them up. Oh, I guess that's what Scott was meaning then. That he is seeing when he records multiple parts on one track, then if you don't have the lanes enabled, then actually what you're going to see is that those parts are displayed on top of each other. Yeah, that's annoying, but you can fix that indeed. Let me show you what Andy means. Even though I don't have lanes in this project, what you see over here is this is the lanes button, and if you press this button, then you get to see the lanes separately over here. And if you don't have the lanes button, then the lanes are on top of each other. And I think you can still select the correct lane. Yeah, I don't have different recordings on this track now, but normally you can also bring the correct recording to the foreground with the right click button over here. But I myself, if I have multiple recordings on the track, I basically always use lanes like this, like Andy suggests. I'm not sure whether that's what you meant, Scott, but yes, that could be very helpful. Scott is on a Mac, he says, but doesn't play well with Cubase. That's very annoying. Guitar70, yes, thank you very much. Order, how do you decide what plugin to put in what order while mixing vocals? No one ever seems to give me a clear answer. I'm not going to, yeah. I'm afraid, because it depends. It depends order. It's really, well, obviously everybody, I guess, has a standard kind of vocal chain that they put a vocal through. And I've shown my vocal chain in many videos that I made on mixing vocals, so you can have a look at those. But it's not really a one thing. I will tell you that I usually have a console plugin that gives some coloration and adds, ups the level to a proper level for the channel, which I basically use on all channels. Then I would have some EQ, some compression, probably some de-essing, and I might have multiple of those, multiple compressors, multiple de-essers. I usually also do have a vocal rider to even out the level before a compressor, and I have the standard things like reverb and delay, but it's really song dependent which ones I turn on and which ones I use on the vocal, also depending on the vocal. So there's not really a one-way answer. I think you really have to find the right combination that works for you and that works for the vocal and the song that you're recording. Sorry, but I think that's also the reason why a lot of people, like you say, they can't give you a straight answer, because there's not just one answer. It was indeed Andy that gave the correct answer to Scott, I see. Well, great. That's the advantage of such a live chat. Secret Squirrel, Laneway Studios, I lost feed. Did you respond? Hypothetically, could one run the buses of Cubase out to UAD Apollo Luna from one interface to another via analog as emulation of a missing console? I don't have a direct answer for that, Secret Squirrel. I'm not very familiar with Luna. I know it's the UAD DAW, but I don't have a UAD interface myself, so I'm not really using Luna. I guess hypothetically you could, but there's only one way you can find out, and that's by just trying it, basically. Bradley has a question. Have you ever used Fiedler Audio Stage or Hyperspace? Well, no, I haven't. I'm not sure what that is. That's are those reverbs, or I don't know those. This question, I think maybe you asked this in one of the chats as well. Arup, can MIDI notes played in between then from the beginning unless you make a WAV file? Please answer. Yeah, I would love to answer, but I'm not quite sure what you mean exactly. Maybe some of the others know what you mean and they can answer in the chat, but I'm not exactly sure what you mean. Yeah, sorry about that, Secret Squirrel, can't help you there. I'm seeing that my camera is starting to complain about battery, so I'm afraid that I'm going to have to start thinking about ending this stream. I only wanted to thank everybody for subscribing, watching the videos anyway. I think it's great that I reached 10K subscribers. I hope I still make a lot more videos, and I hope still a lot more people will subscribe. And it always helps if guys like you that join this live chat and live stream, if you promote the videos, if you like them, if you subscribe to the channel, if you're not subscribed already, that really helps out, and that really gives a signal to YouTube that these videos are liked and people are engaging with them. And it's great. Like from my side, I make these videos. It takes quite a lot of time. I also made a video about that, by the way. It hardly pays anything, these videos. So but it's very nice to know that they're helping people and that they get spread by the YouTube algorithm, and your engagement then helps a lot in promoting these videos. So if I missed any question, I will have a look after the chat to see if there's any interesting ones that I can maybe make a video about. I'm sorry if I didn't get to your question, but well, I hope you guys all have a great evening, a great day in whatever time zone you are. It's holiday time, so maybe you're already on holiday, maybe you still have a holiday pending. In that case, have a great holiday. And I'm sure I'll see you soon again in some other video or live chat. Thanks all, bye bye, and see you soon.